What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? BizzyDad here. They are checking out the latest spoilers from the Lapis Cluster starter decks. This time we are going to take a look at the dark starter deck, which is called Vampiric Hunger. And for those of you who know me, you know that I am a big fan of the darkness cards. So I've been waiting for these starter deck spoilers to be released. I'm really looking forward to see if these match up to Yogg and the Cthulhu's in the Curse of the Frozen Casket set. And before I get into it, when it comes to the spoilers, I just want to let you know that just in case you've noticed that more Curse of the Frozen Casket spoilers have been coming out. I haven't been doing videos on them because I really wanted to just catch that first round of spoilers and just kind of be surprised by the rest when the set comes out. So I wanted to touch on each of the colors when they first came out, but I'm not going to get too deep into them because I do like that little element of surprise when the set does come out. But we do have the dark starter deck here for the Lapis Cluster, and I'm still trying to find out if these cards are going to be sprinkled into the Lapis Cluster sets as they go along. I still haven't gotten an answer on that, so if any of you happen to know that, just leave it in the comments below. That'd be great. So let's get into it. Here is the ruler, ally of the Black Moon, a Wanderer ruler with a judgment of 3, 2 dark, and 1 other. Here you see the Energize ability. If you are not the player going first, you'll get a coin to banish and produce 1 dark will at any time. And here is the ability, 1 dark, and this card deals 100 damage to target resonator and put a blood counter on this card. So as we've been seeing, each of the rulers has a unique ability or unique trait about them, which is really good to see. And once again, the artwork is really great on these Force of Will cards. I really like how this looks, just everything about it. So we'll pay the 2-1 to J-activate, and we will flip over to the Eternal Vampire, Mikage Seijuro. This could be completely said wrong. A vampire J-ruler, and I know I harp on the artwork, but when you take a look at just how great this is, you can see the fang marks in the neck. He's holding the sword. He's just looking like he's looking tough. But we have a 900 with imperishable and flying. So, I mean, I guess it wouldn't be a vampire without imperishable. He doesn't die. But a 9/9 flyer, just really good. Not as strong as the other rulers in these starter decks, but again, you sacrifice that for the flying and the imperishable. Makes him pretty strong. If you remove a blood counter from this card, you choose 1. So we get a lot of choices here. Target J Resonator gains -1/-1 until the end of turn, or this card gains +200 attack until end of turn, or you gain 200 life, or you could put a +1/+1 counter on a target Vampire Resonator. So a really versatile ruler. It gives you a lot of options when removing the blood counter. And as you could see, you don't get to put any blood counters on this side. It just seems to be on the ruler side. So I don't know if there's going to be a card that when it enters, you put a blood counter on your J ruler. That might be there, but not bad. Definitely to gain life or to pump itself up +200 before it swings into attack with flying. If you know you're not going to get blocked, remove a counter, give yourself another 200 attack. So that gets through on the flying. So I like that. Let's take a look at some of the support cards. This is Shara, the 3rd daughter of the Mikage. I don't know if I'm saying it right, but that's just how I'm pronouncing it. So here's a Vampire Resonator, 1 drop, 500/500. And this card cannot attack as long as there are no +100/+100 counters on it. So here we're seeing a little bit of the connection. If we can just go back to the J ruler. It says here, if you remove a blood counter, you could put a +1/+1 counter on a target Vampire Resonator. So, of course, the daughter is a Vampire Resonator who needs a +1/+1 counter in order to attack. So that's one way to just get it on her quickly. But also, look, for 3, 2 dark, and 1 other, this card deals 200 damage to target Resonator. Put a +1/+1 counter on this card. If your J ruler is Ally of the Black Moon or Eternal Vampire Mikage Seijuro, you could put 2 +1/+1 counters on this card instead. So another way to get the +1/+1 counter on her in order for her to attack. A steep cost for 3 in order to do that, especially since she is just a 1-drop to play. But this counter is not an ability that goes till the end of turn. So as long as you keep her on the field, every time you can do the 2-in-1, anytime you can pay the 3 to deal 200 damage, you'll get counters to add to her attack and defense. So, I mean, it is a little steep, but if you can keep her alive and can hit that, every now and then, all of a sudden she becomes 7/7, 9/9, 11/11. Remember, the counters are 2 each because you have, if your ruler is the vampire. Power Absorption is a 2-drop quick cast chant, so you can do this at any time. And this card deals 600 damage to target J Resonator, plus an additional 100 damage for each vampire resonator you control. Put a +1/+1 counter on each vampire you control. So here is a shortcut to get the +1/+1 counter on to Shara. If you have her on the field, you can play this card, which is a quick cast, and you're going to deal 600 damage to a J Resonator. And if you have Shara on the field, it'll be 700 because it's an additional 100 damage for each vampire. And then you put the +1/+1 counter on each vampire you control. So it's good to see all the different options to get that +1/+1 counter on Shara. It's obviously crucial for her to get the counter because she can't attack without it. But with all these counters and all these buffs, by the time you do get the counter on her, she's going to be a lot stronger than just 5/5. So pretty interesting. Blood of the Mikage is another chant, just a 1-drop chant. And a target J Resonator you control gains +8/+8 and precision until end of turn. At the next end of turn, destroy it. And it just shows that cards you control with precision can attack recovered J Resonators. Precision is going to be the new target attack. It's the same thing. They've just changed the wording. So this is a pretty strong card to give one of your J Resonators +8/+8 and target attacks. It's a good way to just really bulk up to take out a big threat who's on the field. At the next end of turn, you do have to destroy it. However, the key here is that you can pump up your J Resonator, so your J Ruler can get pumped up +8/+8. So here's a great way to make the Vampire J Ruler a 17/17 flyer. And yes, you do have to destroy it at the end of turn, but the Vampire has imperishable, so you don't really destroy it. It just flips back over to the ruler side. And I guess this is a good way if in a pinch, or if you just want to get the if you want to get your J Ruler back to the Ally of Black Moon to start getting more blood counters, here's a great way to do it. You just put this out there, 1700 flying, attack, turns over, destroy it. But it has imperishable, so it flips back over to a ruler. So I think this card is really worth it, especially just for the 1-drop. The only negative is it's a chant, so it can only be done on your turn, but that's really minor here, especially if you're going to use this to get your J Ruler to flip back over. Really good card. Heavenbound Pheasant is a 2-drop Fairy Tale Resonator, 1 dark and 1 other, 400, 300 with flying. So the stats are a little weak, but it flies. So you have to keep in mind that flying usually gets through unless you're playing somebody else with flyers. You just kind of take the little lesser attack when you have a flyer. When this card is put into a graveyard from your field, your opponent discards a card. So it immediately makes up for the low attack and defense. In this game, drawing cards is great, and just the opposite end of the spectrum is discarding and having to lose cards. It could be death in this game. So another staple for darkness is making your opponent discard when you have like Scorn of Dark Alice and just the Lapis' Dark Storm. All these cards that just make your opponent discard is great, and another reason why I love Dark so much. So this is actually a pretty good card. Oh, look at this. I like how this looks. The Faithful Hellhound, a 3-drop Fairy Tale Resonator, 1 dark and 2 other, 700, 500. And when this card enters your field, each player banishes a Resonator. So it's a lock. When he comes in, you got to get rid of somebody. Your opponent's got to get rid of somebody. Just to be careful, if you don't have any other resonators on your field and you think you're going to be slick and get away with this card, if there are no other resonators and you put the Hellhound out, you have to banish the Hellhound. So you're not going to get away with it. Don't play this card if you don't have any other resonators on the field or resonator you don't want to get rid of. You don't want to get trapped in that situation. Momotaro of the Sanzu River is another fairy tale resonator. 2-drop, 600. It's not bad. This card gains +3/+3 as long as you control 4 or more resonators. So pretty steep condition to have 4 or more resonators on the board, but I think it would have to include him as well. So if he is the 4th, if you can get 3 others out there and play him, he becomes a 9/9, which for 2 is great if you can get it to stick. The Monkey Trapped in Life, another really good looking card. I like this. It looks frustrated. It looks like me sometimes. We're just holding the ears. Don't want to hear any of it. A 1-drop, 100 fairy tale resonator. So we have a lot of fairy tales here. When this card is put into a graveyard from your field, return it to its owner's hand. You lose 100 life. People who remember the old Rasputin card from the original Vingolf set was along the same lines, a 100. And when it was put into the graveyard, you could choose to pay 100 life. And if you do, you got to put it back in your hand. People who like to play the Cthulhu's, this Rasputin was a great card because you just automatically went back into your hand. This is along the same lines, except you don't have a choice. When this card goes into the graveyard, you get it back in your hand and you lose 100 life. So this card will be used in that kind of like incarnation or that Cthulhu style. But you really do have to be careful because you don't have a choice. It comes back in your hand and you do lose 100 life. So getting late in the game, if you start, getting close to dying yourself, this is probably not a card you want because you're going to lose life whenever it hits the graveyard and then you're going to get it again. So just be careful with this one. The Drunken Oni is a 5-drop Oni resonator, 2 dark and 3 other to play in a beast, 1300. And when this card enters your field, search your deck for a card named Castle of Oni, reveal it, and put it into your hand, then shuffle your deck. So just pretty straightforward, just a huge beater, 13, pretty good. And when he comes into the field, you get to search for the Castle of Oni, which is right here. And it is an addition, 3-drop, 2 dark and 1 other. Darkness J resonators you control gain +2/+2. So you get the Drunken Oni on the field. He'll be a 13. You get to search for the castle. If you can get it out next turn, it's going to become a 15. So just a way to make him even stronger. If you rest and banish this card, you can put a target card from your graveyard into your hand. So not bad. It's not a target resonator. It's a target card. So any of the cards in your graveyard, you need to get it in your hand. No other way to get to it or in a pinch. You just rest it and banish this, and you got it. Oni Strike is a 3-drop quick cast chant. You can do it at any time. I like how this card looks. I like how the majority of these cards look. So I know I say it a lot, but 3-drop, 2 dark, and 1 other to play. Destroy target resonator. If you control an Oni, this card deals 500 damage to your opponent. What a great card. If you have an Oni on the board, and this one comes in and destroys one of your opponent's resonators, and then it also deals 500 damage to your opponent. So fans of Stoning to Death and Thunder, here are both of them right here in one card. Just an amazing card. And for 3, it's not bad, guys. It's a quick cast, and you can destroy any resonator. So if your opponent has a big 4-drop or 5-drop on their side of the board, here comes the Oni Strike, blasts him, gets him out of there. And if you control an Oni, your opponent's going to eat 500 too. So great card. And I love it. I mean, I just love this Darkness Magic Stone. The ring, look at the stone on the ring. Is it a snake eye? It's exploding. The ring is chained up. This is one of the best looking Magic Stones I've seen so far. So another winner, another great Magic Stone coming out in this set. So guys, that is it. A look at the Vampiric Hunger starter deck for the Lapis cluster. This looks good. I'm more into the Cthulhu's for Frozen Casket, but if there was one starter deck that I was going to buy, this might be it. I just like how they work together. I do like the light starter deck too, but this one is also up there, trying to grab that top spot. So guys, that is it. Let me know what you think. You like it, you hate it. Leave a comment below and let me know. Also, just my past couple of videos have gotten so many great comments, and I'm trying to reply to them all. So thank you guys all very much. I really appreciate it. And we are going to have more videos soon. So as always, thanks for a few minutes and talk to you next time. Bye.